Alrighty, Lumberjacks, welcome back. And today we are going to be doing a quick review of the new Delimber. Now, I'm doing this video a little bit ahead of time because it's coming out at the end of the month, and I wanted to give you guys a little review. This is slightly more complicated than some of the other machines that I've made, and I wanted to kind of review it. So, a Delimber's purpose is for removing the limbs off of trees, as the name Delimber, and it's also for cutting trees to specific lengths. Now, in real life, these claws at the front here usually rip all the limbs off of the tree, but because we don't really have that option with this game, I had to kind of make it a little bit different. So before we go into the actual using of the machine and showing you how it works, I wanted to show you guys the purchase side. So when you go to buy the Delimber from the menu here, we're just going to scroll down, Delimber. So there's two parts to it. So you have the actual Delimber, which is the machine itself, and then you have the Delimber top saw, and the top saw is going to be used to cut your lengths. Now, you can run this machine without the top saw, but it sucks and I don't recommend it. So definitely purchase both parts. Now, when you buy your machine, your Delimber will appear just like this guy, and then when you buy the top saw, you'll see this tiny little saw that falls onto the ground like this. Now, I put this little tiny green node on the back here so that you guys know where to line up your connection spot. So basically, you need to face your machine so that your main boom is pointed directly at this green dot. So let's hop in this guy here real quick. So, like I said, you want to line it up with that as you approach because that's going to be your attachment point. So as you can see, once you get close enough, we're a little out of range here. I made it so you can go pretty far. All you have to do is hit Q. It will then attach that saw. And the saw is attached to the same button that telescopes your forwarder head. So it's just that drop-down saw. All right. So I'm going to switch over because I have another one of these set up at a landing already, which is this guy here. And I'm going to show you guys how it works. So basically, from inside the cab, we have this tiny little meter on the right-hand side. So this meter is used to show you how far the boom is out. So if it's sitting at 0, just pull your boom all the way back with your stick, and your boom should be basically as close as it can get to the cab, like so. That will set your meter at 0, and then as you push your meter out, or push your boom out, that meter goes up. So now you can see this little fork guy moving down in the corner here. So this first length right here is like a super short log if you're doing like very, very short trailers. This here would be about a perfect size for the short log trailer that we have for the FDR. This guy would be a nice medium length for the medium length trailer. And then this is just your max length, which is kind of, I guess, a longish, medium longish kind of sized piece. So that meter system is just used for you to calculate how far out your boom is. It just makes it so you basically have uniform cuts. Otherwise, you're just guessing your cuts. And I mean, you don't have to follow that. You can do whatever you want, like by making your own cuts if you want. So let's line this guy up with these. Okay, so on this guy, like I said, you have your main claws here. You can extend your boom, raise and lower your boom. Those are your options for using it. So before you do anything, because we have two saws, we have this saw here, which is your top saw, and you have this rear saw here, which is basically what grabs onto the log and holds it in place. So, because they are separate objects, you need to control them separately with the controls. So, right now, we have the top saw selected. So, if we hit B, that will turn on the top saw. And I'm not sure if you can hear it. It kind of spools up a little bit, not super loud, but... and then you want to hit G, which switches your object. And now we have this saw on the back selected. So, we had that saw, turned it on. Now we have this saw selected. And we also want to turn that on by hitting B again. And that's all you have to do. So as soon as you get in the machine, I always just say BGB, and then that you know it's all ready to go. So now on the very tip of this saw, we have our little drop saw that comes down. Now again, you manually control this. So make sure after you do your cut, you're pushing and raising it back up as far as it'll go. When you do your cut, make sure you drop it down as far as it'll go. All right? Okay, so let's do a practice cut here. So you want to go into your pile, grab a log, roll it up so you can just kind of bite it down, and you want to get it basically to a point where it's not getting crushed, because you can really kind of squeeze these guys if you want, but you want it to be able to move with your boom so that you still have control of it. You want to bring it back. I'm just going to do a side view here. So after you get your grip on your log, you want to bring it back so it's in line with that back saw. So anywhere between there and there. And then as soon as you line it up, you'll get the option to cut. Your first cut will drop a tiny little piece off there. The log is now completely delimbed on that first cut, and it's gripped by the back. So technically I don't even have to hold the log because it's being held by that processor cut on the back. But we want to keep our grip about here anyway. So if your back end of your cut is ugly, see if you can see it's kind of got a bit of a spiral cut and I don't like it, all you have to do is hit X again and it'll run it and cut another piece off. And you can just keep doing that until you find a nice smooth piece, if that's what you want to do. You don't have to do that, but it's just one extra thing you can do. But you can run this log as much as you want to get it to the length you want for whatever prettiness. So we're going to switch back to this view. Now I'm going to bring this back all the way to the front because that's where we were. Now I'm going to cut these to as far as I can cut them. So I'm going to go out all the way down here. So once you reach your max range of your cut, so this would be the furthest out, you want to pincer up so that your whatever size log you are is basically kind of tight with the top. And then you want to drop your top saw, which is already turned on, and it will cut. So now there's a bit of a delay on that cut. As you saw, you have to kind of let it drag there for a minute and then raise it back up. This is just for a nice clean cut on the back. After that top piece is done, we now have a perfectly cut size. You can let go of your claw a little bit, slide this all the way back like so, grab it, and then we're going to extend it out and put it in a pile right here. And like I said, you can do your piles however you want. You can do them straight, you can do them off angle. You have a lot of twist with this head to be able to line up your piles however you want. So let's go do that again. So let's go in, we're gonna grab this one right here. And again, you wanna grab it so it's tight enough that it kind of sits up. As you bring it in, you can do your first cut, do a second cut, do a third cut, do as many cuts as you feel you need to cut. Again, I'm going to expand it all the way out, grip it up, do a little chop. Again, it does take a second, so please let the saw do its work. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to change the cut speed on that saw, so that's just the way she is. And we're going to go in, grab another one. Sometimes you got to whip them a little bit so they line up straight, but usually as you grip, it should pull it back up straight for you. And we'll cut that. Oops, there we go. And we're just going to run that out a little. Also, make sure you don't have it super too tightly gripped, because then if you do it, it'll kind of glitch out. So make sure you have a little bit of slack on it. I mean, you can leave it right open if you want. You don't have to grip it at that part. Just make sure after you do your cut, after you do this cut on the end, it's now loose in there. So you do need to kind of pinch up on it a little bit to get it to leave so you can line it up with wherever you're putting it. So we're just going to throw it there because I don't really care. Let's do one more here just to kind of show. We'll do a different length too, just to really be different. So we'll do another cut. And we're going to make that end pretty. Let's do like a medium length. Let's go to about there. And as you can see, I'm lining it up with those little red dots. Those are basically just the little cut lengths that I've preset. And again, if you don't like the spots, you can cut it to whatever you want. You don't have to use those meters. Those are just basic normal lengths. And like I said, if you use that guide, you'll get uniform lengths. So these logs are all the same size. These logs will all be the same size. If you try to do it just by free eyeing it, it's possible that your lengths might not be up to snuff. But yeah, so that's basically all there is to it. It's basically just another form of a processor. I mean, it can be just as fast or just as slow as using the Waratah processors, but it's just another way to do things, and I know a lot of people wanted it to be that way. So anyway, this is the tutorial video on how to use it. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them below. If not, can't wait to get this out to you guys. I think you're going to have a blast. All right, guys, we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.